Triple Nine was on the blacklist of scripts all the way back in 2010. Along the way, a bunch of iterations, sort of casting changes in order to sort of get to this point. Given that you kind of played cops and criminals in the past, what was it about this particular script, this particular project, that sort of attracted you to it? And at what point in the process, I guess, were you exposed to it and said, hey, I've done these roles before, but there's something special about this that I want to be a part of?
Tom Ortenberg, the producer of Open Road, reached out to me. I think I ran into him at the Women in Film Oscars party for Octavia. And I ran into him, and he says, hey, I've got this really good piece I think you'd be perfect for. In reading the project, Matt Cook's screenplay, you know, this character is like a former Marine. He's you know, a dedicated Leo, the way he sees it. And it was an opportunity to put all this together on top of working with two of my dearest friends, Norman Reedus and Aaron Paul. We've got like a 20-year history with each of them. And then John Hillcoat. And then you fan out the rest of the cast, and it's like, Eureka, the Motherlode, Robin Banks with the homies. Come on, let's do this.
Well, I mean, when you talk about especially Latinos in being in the roles that are put forth for a lot in times of in films, it's a lot of times you'll see sort of a criminal element that gets brought into it. Is that sort of way in at any point in time, especially when we're kind of talking about sort of the Hollywood landscape and the roles that are put forth for Latinos or African Americans or whatnot? Does any of that come into context as far as do I want to go down that road with these particular characters, or do you say, no, it's a great role, I got to go with it?
That's a really good question. Look, at the end of the day, a good role is a good role. But I do, because I am part Latino, and there's certainly a stigma. Mm-hmm. You know, I fight for years to be judged just on my talent. Judge me on my talent, not my ethnic background. I mean, there's actors that just have the last name that sounds Latino, whether it's like a Molina, a Josh Molina, or any of these other guys. It's like, but they're not Latino, but because the name sounds like that, they cast them. So for me, it's, you know, I used to tell my agents, like, don't worry, we got a great Anglo role coming up for you. I'm like, well, it's not about, you know, playing white or Latino. It's about playing dynamic characters, and characters that are compelling and tortured and intriguing. You know what I mean? So that is, you know, first and foremost is the craft and the work and what's on the page. Mm-hmm. I do have to be careful. There's been times in the past where it's like, you know, when they came to me for The Perfect Game, for instance, I just finished 2 Latino roles. I'm not really in the market to play a Latino role right now. You don't want to put too much out there, and the kind of work that I like to do, I like to really change the way I look in so many different pieces, and you know, playing the same kind of characters over and over doesn't lend itself to that kind of a thing.
One of the most interesting aspects of the film to me is sort of watching these characters be pushed against the wall and seeing how they have to react to fight back against that when there really are no good options. That's a pretty dark place to sort of explore as far as almost survival instinct kicking in, and what do we have to do in order to make sure we're okay?
Sure. I guess that's kind of like the situation Lee Baca found himself in, trying to hide federal agents and trying to send his sheriffs out to intimidate the good old FBI. I don't know where that disconnect comes in. But in regards to my character, you know, I've got a military background. You know, your back's against the wall in my backstory all the time. You know, I mean, people come back from war, all the different, you know, combat veterans that I've spoken with and stuff. So it's like your back's against the wall. Now you've got your brethren within the blue line who's going to back you too, and a lot of them have military experience. So, you know, ultimately it's for the greater good. There comes a point in time, I think, you know, the rules of engagement change in war. The rules of engagement change here at home as things change, you know, 9/11, all these other things, and then everything gets cranked up. So, you know, when you're used to committing certain acts against humanity in the name of freedom or whatever your cause is, and then you come home to people, civilians that don't really understand, this government's not going to teach you how to be a good civilian again after you've been killing men, women, children, and bombing things. You come home and now you got to be a regular person. Well, what's the next best thing? I still want to protect people. I still want to do good things, but I've already been bending the rules in war. Now I'm back here. There's very much an us versus them mentality, which is unfortunate because good community policing is where you love your Leos and vice versa. And if you're from that neighborhood, you're gonna love the people there. There's some bad people there, but you keep an eye on because you know where they are. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, but now it's like you're stretching the rules, you're bending the laws, and now it's like you're taking it to your own hands. In my mind, it's for the greater good. Okay, yeah, I had to kill people in war, and I got to kill people here. And at some point, there's got to be accountability. When there's not, you get to do what we do in 999, or what Lee Baca did.